Does anyone else find it really challenging when you're trying to say, hey, here's everything I read last month, and then you binge read, say something online, and it's just chapters, and you're like, okay, how does this like go into volumes? Because I don't feel my number is fully accurate. Hello friends, happy Friday. So very excited that you're here. It is my August reading wrap up and I am thrilled to talk about, supposedly, according to what I wrote down, the 20 plus volumes of manga I read. But here's the thing, I reread titles, I binge read over 100 chapters of a manhwa, and then I read just a few other things that probably don't actually go into a full volume, but I'm like, this doesn't feel accurate to me that I only supposedly read 20 volumes. Like, it just doesn't sit right with my heart. Maybe because I'm like, okay, to dive right in, starting off with the digital manga, I read volumes 1 and 2 physically of Love That's an Understatement because we finally got volume 2 of Love That's an Understatement physically, and I'm so excited. But then I also read volumes 3 through 6, and because I read this during like a really stressful time, I was sick, I actually reread, I know for sure, volumes 3 through 6. I reread them digitally. Despite that I have reread the entire series twice at this point, I'm like, I don't fully recall everything that happened. And that's actually why I reread it, because I was so under the weather, so sick the first time, that I went to go like read the next volume and I'm like, I don't remember what happened. Now that does not reflect, I should say, how great, fantastic, and amazing this series was. I truly do not feel that way. Maybe that's hard to say because like, Laura, well, if you read it twice back to back and you don't remember, but again, that was also during the time that I found out that my iron levels were really low, and yeah, that was causing some issues. I don't recall if it causes forgetfulness, but I'm pretty sure that it can. So I love this series deeply. In fact, you'll see in a minute that I'm going to be saying this is a real big struggle bus for me of, was this my favorite read or was a different title my favorite read? I have reread volume 1 more than once, and it's honestly the delinquent manga that put delinquent manga on my radar. It's how I got into glasses, honestly, because I read Love That's Understatement volume 1, and then I stopped reading because I was like, I love this so much, I want this physically, and I'm like, I'm just gonna wait. And then we got volume 2, and it was amazing. It was just everything I had hoped it would be. And I got to the end, and I was like, I really want to read more. And so yeah, I finally, after I think it was like a year for volume 4, it was like my, I was supposed to say anniversary, but it had been a year since I bought that digital volume. I did buy one of the volumes, I think it was volume 6, and then I checked out volume 5 from the library because I realized I thought I bought volume 5, but no, no, I didn't. So I deeply loved it. It's hard to put into words. It feels so comforting. It's so soft. I love seeing Risa's journey as her growing as a heroine. It was fantastic. She's really almost staunch. Is that the right word? Where she is very strict. She doesn't seem to smile that often, and seeing her soften up, seeing her really come out of her shell and make her own decisions because she simply wants to, not because somebody expects it of her, not because she feels like this is her image or what she is the right thing to do. No, she's doing things she wants to do, and I loved it. I'm pretty sure if I had to say out of any of these volumes, that was my favorite outside of volume 1 because I love that one for sure. I would say volume 5 because I felt like there was a critical moment for Risa where it could have just gone down this lane of drama and just prolonged miscommunication or the lack of communication, and it did not. It did not. And I felt that spoke so much of the creator. I felt that spoke even, I guess, just as much of Risa as a character, that when things are happening, she is struggling, and we see that there's interlopers trying to cause problems. Risa comes to Zen and she just comes on and says, I trust you. And this was such a big thing for her, and we see these gradual steps that she takes through the series of where she's trusting Zen, like with the lightning or thunderstorm, for example. She's calling him, and seeing her just slowly really show her love and affection for him was fantastic. And then if I didn't think anything could top how beautiful this romance has been, I'm fully on board. Zen is swoon-worthy. I love him very deeply. I was completely blown away by the friendship aspect that was unfolding in volume 6. It was so moving. I cried again. I truly didn't think there'd be something outside of the romance that I would be just as invested in, Zen. But honestly, you know, even rewinding and the thing with Zen's friends, I mean, we see how loyal he is. We see how caring and kind and even compassionate that he is. Also very grumpy. I really do love how he respects Risa very, very deeply, even when it could have caused issues. And it did unintentionally hurt Risa's feelings because she didn't understand. That's why communication, babe, is a beautiful and grand thing. I loved it a whole bunch. But even when there's just things with him and his friends that Risa, going back to saying, of taking an investment outside of the romance into even Zen's friends and seeing how things will go for them with the school. Even the one male interloper, I couldn't really bring myself to hate his guts. And I'm just like, y'all, the feelings were being felt very much in this series and I deeply loved it. And I'm hugely thankful that Kodansha is printing it. I know volume 2 had some interesting quality for the paper, and I think honestly, I mean, the paper was fine. I mean, it wasn't like my favorite, but honestly, I'm just so bothered that volume 2 here is just so much thinner than volume 1. I know, maybe that shouldn't be a big thing, and there's other things that are more important than that, but I was just like, yeah, make it just as chunky. Give me that chunk enough. So I deeply, deeply love this series. Please don't ask me if I love this one more than Glasses or love Glasses more than this one, because I can't give you an answer. I did think about that. I mean, I'm not sure if I've shared it in a video. I'm pretty sure I've shared it in my Goodreads review. Both of these are special for different reasons. Obviously, I love Glasses a lot and I've reread it. I'm triple dipping on it, so it's very special to me, but I never again would have gotten any Glasses if it hadn't been for Love That's an Understatement, just placing down that foundation of like, hey, delinquent romance is a thing. You love it, you like it, you want more of it. And so I feel like even if I haven't reread this series as much, I hold them in both the strong, high regards because they are just absolutely amazing. So very thankful that I read ahead. Actually really sad at the same time because where is volume 7? Please give me volume 7. Hopefully these volumes will physically get printed quickly because I want to reread it after we get another volume. I do have to laugh because I have on my paper here that has everything that I read, because I haven't put in my reading journal yet, but I read a chapter, I fell into a situationship with the vampire count. I have no idea what chapter this was. I don't remember when I read this, but I do know that I really liked it, and I'm glad that the shenanigans are back. I feel like the previous chapters, which were really good, but they definitely had some steam, so I wouldn't go out and say like this is a squeaky clean romance, despite that they were married and whatnot. I think I talked about that in my previous reading wrap-up video, but I think one thing as a fan of this series that I was initially worried about is, okay, we had the vampire shenanigans. What's gonna happen now? And those shenanigans are taking a different form, and I'm really, really excited to see where they go. I was so bummed that I read the chapter. There was no other chapters after it. It has definitely continued to be a gem of a series, and what I'm desperately hoping physically gets picked up, like please, somebody, anybody, physically print this for me, because I will definitely double dip on it. It is amazing and would highly recommend it if you want some vampire shenanigans, want some humor, want some swoon-worthy and almost steamy moments that happen when you least expect it, and then also like some really cute and wholesome moments. Like, man, this series is great. I've been reading it on K-Manga. Oh, the big one though. Now we talk about favorite manhwa reads. Oh yes, this was it. In fact, I think this is the only manhwa read, so that would be the only favorite I'd have. But I finally read, after we got that manhwa license physical from Ice Press, who's amazing. Not your typical reincarnation story. I finally started it, y'all. I binge read. Yes, I binge read chapters 1 through 106. Your girl was in the reading cave on that one. Let's see. Those announcements were on Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. So, or maybe it was Friday. But yeah, I started it. I read about 10 chapters after the initial license announcement. And then that night, I stayed up till midnight and read all of season 1, probably past season 1 actually. And then I woke up early the next morning. So it had been Friday because Sunday morning I woke up very early and I finished reading it. And then I've just been reading the side stories we've been getting, which have been so good. I'm so thankful when we get like side stories for manhwa like this. I mean, it's really nice when we get from manga too, but I do feel like for me, it's almost an expectation now that you get the full manhwa, you get the full series, and then you get the side stories. Like, yes, bring it on. Let me see what's happening with the other characters, the OG characters, like everything. Oh my gosh, this was amazing. Shout out to every single person that's like, Laura, you need to read this. You need to read this. yes, you were right. I need to read it. I have read it, and I'm definitely going to be getting those physical copies. I don't even know where to start of where, how, why I enjoyed this so much, because I didn't write any of my thoughts down like in a Goodreads review. It didn't dawn on me till actually I was printing out my stuff for my reading journal. But it was truly, oh man, it was truly an incredible journey. I definitely feel like this has some of the villainous vibes, and honestly, I feel like not your typical reincarnation story. The actual title fits this story perfectly. The twist that happens of her being, I mean, there's the twist of her being reincarnated as the villainess in this novel, but the twist was at season 2, I believe, and seeing why this reincarnated story is happening. I've never read anything like that. I was so blown away. I was blown away of how this asks questions of the reader of who is in the right here. Should the story have changed? Because that's how the author originally intended it. But if the characters are alive and they want to change and they want to get out of these story arcs that lead to doom, do they have a right to change it? And who would be in the right? The original creator or the character? And I have never thought about something like that, especially with loving these villainous reincarnation stories. And so honestly, for me, I enjoyed thinking about that aspect of the story. Not really sure I came to a full answer, though I will say things that we found out about the original author was absolutely horrible, and it was very hard to have any kind of, I don't want to say compassion, but I was like, yeah, them characters deserve to change the story the way that they did, because that was some unhingedness that came through. I loved our female lead so much, and I love how she was relatable and that she's been reincarnated to this novel, and the guy who was her favorite is going to be her husband, and he hates her guts. She already knows that him and his brother are in love with the heroine, who is absolutely beautiful, but she makes these comments all the time of like, do you think you can get away with what you're doing because you have a sexy face or a sexy body, or you have a nice face? Like, no, you can't do this. And she has this internal struggle about it. So I really enjoyed that part of her story, and I was taken aback how there was one moment where you see, I feel like a trigger warning is needed, because I felt personally triggered, and I was very, very shocked, because Webtoons is, because you can read all this on Webtoons right now for free. Webtoons usually gives really good warnings at the beginning of a chapter of like, hey, just some advisory, this might have XYZ content, and there was none. There was no warning, and the scene was emotional, not just because we have seen how the female lead has been treated in that moment by a certain character outside of the main cast, but also that in this time we see her opening up, like her starting to actually trust her husband and her husband start to genuinely love her was a beautiful, powerful thing that genuinely brought me to tears. I was very moved and very invested in seeing how they would grow as a couple, and these characters that have been forced into these roles that, at least for our female leads, trying to get out of that. And the things she had to do, certain criteria she had to meet to sort of break these original plot points, was eye-opening and heartbreaking, and like, girl, I can't believe you were able to do that. I really enjoyed the cast of characters. I really loved the ending, especially when it came to some original characters, is all I can say there. I thought that was very creative, also very touching, and I really loved how who you thought was ultimately going to be a certain way was not actually fully who they were. It was awesome. It is a great story, and I would highly recommend it if you need some villainous vibes and you want something that has a different twist on this genre. Maybe has some of the similar points of the reincarnation and whatnot, but I really feel like, very similar to Penelope, that this female lead had to dig deep, though she's not nearly as snarky as Penelope from Villains Are Destined to Die, but just the way that she is treated with so much contempt, and then you're seeing how just the novel seems against her, really stirs and pulls those heartstrings very fiercely. I am very interested and excited to reread this again physically. It is going to be a must-have, must-buy in the month of February, I think, when it comes out. Like, yes, I'm here, I'm seated. And again, yeah, I just can't wait to read it again. I deeply, deeply loved it and loving these side stories. I get excited. I've been trying to read it actually right after it comes out because that's just how much I've deeply enjoyed it. And speaking of that, I have finally caught up on The Remarried Empress. I think I was on chapter 219. I'm now caught up with 223. It's been like, I'm trying to think of how to say this without going into spoilers because we're so in deep. I really loved the latest chapter though. I loved it a lot. I saw a spoiler for it. It made my day. It was very wonderful. It's been very interesting seeing things with the Emperor because it has just gotten complicated, honestly. It has gotten very complicated, and I love seeing a certain ship sail. That was fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. So I'm still continuing to really enjoy the series. I'm hoping desperately that we hear news eventually of a new volume, physical volume release. I don't think there's any out right now in Korea, so we definitely won't have any more coming out in English right now, but hopefully very, very soon, because I did feel a little bit worried after a certain character was not on page anymore, if I would still enjoy it. But yeah, I definitely am, and I honestly wonder how close we are to the end, because I'm like, what's gonna happen after this really exciting moment that just took place? There's still so much I feel that's left that could be explored, but I don't know if it's gonna do that. So to be determined, but I'm still really loving it. I'm very, very happy that I finally caught up on it, which leads me to say for the last thing that I read, it's called Vampire Meets Huntress. I was on Twitter randomly one day. This creator was uploading sort of their webcomic on there, and I literally started at volume 13. I was like, wow, this was a really good chapter. And I started working my way backwards, and I'm like, hey, you've read like 5 chapters. Why don't you just start at the beginning? And so that's what I did. It is about a young woman who is a vampire hunter, and she's, I don't want to say ditzy because that is not the right word. She is very beautiful, yes, but the vampire hunters are like, this girl's the only one who can go in to the castle with the vampire, and we need her basically to tell us what are this vampire's weakness. Problem is, she is his weakness. He is smitten about our huntress, absolutely smitten. The jokes that happen within this are just perfection. It has been a joy and gem to read. In fact, the night before filming this video, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go reread all these 13 chapters again. They're really, really short chapters, so it's a quick binge. It's not very long, and it has been just something super fun and enjoyable to read. I haven't seen any new updates despite that I follow her on Twitter and following her on Webtoons. I also found out that she is on Instagram, and I said I need to go follow her and share her work because it is just, I got 2 other friends hooked on the series, and it has just been so fun. I will warn that the latest chapter 13 does have some steam, but man, I loved it so much. Love the jokes, love the characters, and yeah, I am seated and on board and can't wait to see what happens. And I believe that was everything that I read digitally, though I did have one first impression video last month, and it might be my favorite first impression video I have filmed all year. If you want to check it out, you can check it out here because I even did a first impression of a novel, the first time on the channel in a hot minute, and that is Villains Are Destined to Die. Oh, I loved it. This was amazing. Binge read it in a day. Truly, y'all. When I was in that binge reading cave, I was in that binge reading cave deep, and it was hard to come back out. I read it before my kids went back to school, and it was really, really nice. I had a long first impression, just comparing this to the manual, my thoughts on this, how things differ, would I recommend it, and all of that. And not only did I read that, but Mechanical Marie, which was so good. I'm so sad volume 2 doesn't come out till next year. Like, please. Yin Press, don't do this. Let it come out sooner, please. Please, because it was so cute and very, very fun. Lots of laughter, lots of shenanigans. And the last one that I reviewed was Reincarnate in a Mafia Dating Sim Volume 1. This was fantastic. I feel like, because this was the other contender, it was between this and Love That's an Understatement for my favorite read in August. And I feel pretty confident I'm gonna say this. Now, I'll be honest, when I read volume 2 and I really love it and it's a favorite for September, I will change out this for August and put Love That's Understatement on my graphic, okay? I'm just giving you a heads up. But I feel like this one is my favorite read because of how surprised I was. With Love That's Understatement, I knew for sure I was gonna love every single volume, and I did. I expected that, and if I didn't, that would have been very shocking. But this one had some dangerous elements that had me excited. Like, our male lead can be pretty unhinged. He can be pretty scary. And I found myself excited about that. And so I felt a different kind of surprise when reading this that I was not prepared for, making it, claiming it as of right now, that Reincarnate in a Mafia Dating Sim Volume 1 was my favorite read of August. Even though part of me is like, Laura, That's an understatement. I'm like, yes, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, self. You're not wrong. But yeah, just a surprise with this that I wasn't prepared for. And truly, for not getting any spoilers in advance with this volume, I feel like it fulfilled those expectations plus more. So very excited. Volume 2 should be here, hopefully, as the time of this video going live. Hopefully it is here because I'm ready. I am ready to see what is going to happen next. All right, now we go into a bunch of other physical things that I read. So I reread Volume 9 of The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl, and then I read Volume 10 of The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl. So I reread Volume 9 sort of as a refresher of what happened, because even though I feel like you don't have to reread the previous volume in order to read new volumes, I do like having that just refresher of remembering, okay, this is what happened. And I'm glad that I did, because that date that they went on, so cute. I was like, I forgot how cute the walrus was. The walrus was so adorable. And our leads, they are absolutely adorable. But man, Volume 10, I am very confident that of any of the volumes in the series, hands down, this is it. This is my favorite one. The expressions that Himuro makes was pure gold. So many times he was angry or jealous or frustrated, and I loved it. I loved it so much. Honestly, so like I'll take photos of different panels or pages I really like that make me happy. And then, you know, after a week or so, I'll end up deleting it. But no, this one, I still have it on there because of how much happiness it has brought me every time I have looked at it. I'm trying to find the one because basically this new character calls her by name. Right here. He's like, Mio, this Joker calls her by her first name? Y'all, just the amount of times he was angry. It was so funny to me because, you know, typically he's really chill and we haven't seen quite this anger and this jealousy this strong thus far. So those were the highlights of this volume, hands down. I mean, I really like the end. I liked seeing some things with Himuro's sister, and I love that she continues to pop up through the series. But man, I could just reread the beginning parts with that new character and I would be fully content. Though there was a date that happened, super cute, and I was proud of our girl. I was so proud of her. I mean, I'm proud of both of these characters, but yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next. I don't remember if Volume 11 is up for pre-order yet, and I will say this is also, I think, my favorite cover out of the series. It's just so cute, just so pretty. So yeah, this series continues to be amazing, brings me so much joy, brings me so much happiness, and I need Volume 11 ASAP. I can't believe this is how far we are on this series, and that's Volume 14 of A Condition Called Love. I mean, like, I knew we were pretty far, but today when I pulled it off my shelf, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, Volume 14? I'm still thinking we're back on like Volume 10. This volume continued to bring some major feels, some major heartbreak, heartache, probably more specifically for Hanoni and the struggles that he's having, especially near the end. That was like, yes, is exactly the scene I was thinking of. I didn't know a page could bring so much hurt for my heart just looking at it. It was hard. It was really hard. I mean, I do like how this new character popped up, and if you read the back, it says a new adversary. No, I actually really liked him. I mean, yes, actually, adversary is probably better than love rival because there is no love rival. I worry for our leads because I feel like this character is showing different issues, concerns concerning Hotaru and Hanoni's relationship. And while they're not overly alarming, I do feel in the long run for the relationship, these could cause some major problems. And I'm not really sure where things are gonna go. I left this volume or finished this volume feeling more worried than I ever have before. I don't think it's going to end up in an argument, but there's going to have to be some major self-reflection. I think not just for Hanoni, but I would say even for Hotaru, because Hotaru wanted to do a certain thing. Wasn't bad, but somebody pointed out that if she got it, Hanoni would be really upset. It causes this indecision in her. And so it's sort of like, you know, okay, you want to respect your boyfriend, but what at the same time that you're wanting to do isn't necessarily a bad thing. What are you going to do? While in this moment, she makes a decision and she seems fine with it. But wonder if this pops up again in the future. What will happen then? So I'm nervously scared to see what's going to happen next. I don't think we're probably really going to see much of this new character, but I do feel like the next volume is definitely going to be another painful one, and I don't know if my heart is quite ready, to be honest. thankfully after that, I did have some very wholesome fluff, and that was volume 5 of A Sign of Affection. My friend and I continue to very slowly buddy read this together because of me. But I was blown away, honestly, by this volume. Now, I have reread all of this series minus the latest volume twice. So nothing new is exactly happening, but the one thing that was new for me is seeing Oshi through a completely different perspective, and I was really blown away. I wouldn't ever say that I'm an Oshi hater. Can't ever say I felt that way. Now, I had some strong dislike towards him because I'm like, hey, get out of their way, get out of the relationship. You causing problems, and I don't like that. But seeing him this time, without that biasness, I was really blown away. I thought Oshi is not this hateful, spiteful character that I feel like there is a really big push in recent months, honestly, since the anime, of hate towards Oshi. Yes, I'm not happy with his actions, and I don't want to like sound heartless and say it's a little bit too late to finally realize your feelings and then want to be like, I don't want you to sign about other guys rather than me. Oshi, I'm sorry, but you can't quite act like that. But he is, and I know in later volumes, I really enjoyed seeing his struggle because I think he's a compelling character, and I do think he's a great guy. I mean, we see in this volume that he tells Itsuomi, you know, I don't want to go after some other guy's girl. Like, so he can be respectful. Why he treats Yuki the way he has is honestly my biggest issue with him, because it's like if you had just been kinder to Yuki, things would be so much different, I think, now. And so now he is starting to be kinder, but Yuki doesn't even know what to do with this, and I honestly don't blame her, because if they've been basically childhood friends and he's always liked her but yet always treated her rather meanly, yeah, it's gonna be an adjustment to be like, he's being nice, like something's wrong, you know? And so I feel bad for Yuki in that sense, but I loved her journey in this. I love the date that her and Itsuomi went on. I love that he's starting to reveal things about himself, and just seeing them together warmed my heart, gave me all the warm fuzzies. So definitely continuing to love this series very much. I did forget about certain things, so that was nice, because apparently you can remember major plot points, but you know, the smaller things you sort of forget. So it's been really exciting to be back in this series, and I know I said that last time, but I truly do mean that. Listen, I don't feel like I am easily swayed by a pretty face, but I read volume 3 of It Takes More Than a Pretty Face to Fall in Love, and I can't say anything, but there is a pretty face character who shows up. I got so excited with our female lead. I don't think I expected that. Period. Hands down. And I was like, I actually reread that part of the volume because it was such a great turn of events. It was such a great twist. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, like things. It's funny because I love smooth sailing manga. Not gonna lie, don't give me all the drama. I'm not here for that. I mean, sometimes, yes, but ultimately, I just like smooth sailing, okay? I know a lot of people say it's vanilla, but that's just who I am, all right? So anyway, plus vanilla ice cream is my favorite flavor, but I found myself after some resolution of things that happen. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling myself get just a little bit bored, and then the school camp trip happens, and I said, okay, I'm here, and then the twist happens, but then the end. But look, I am definitely this team, okay? I am team ship here of the main leads, because that ending, I was like, look, I know I got excited for the pretty face, okay? I know I got excited for that, but not the cost of things happening in the ship. I said, no. And volume 4, I forget when it comes out, but I said, man, I need it. I need it not only because I need to see what's going to happen with this pretty face character, even the best friend is super smart. We don't have a dumb best friend here. And I do like seeing that, even though I'm like, our female lead, like, girl, come on, like, please say things. I feel like you're hurting yourself more than you realize, though not intentionally. Like, she has the best of intentions. I do know that. But man, that ending, that, like she says, the face that senpai makes, that's not a face she wants to see. That's not a face I want to see. And so hopefully things get cleared up. I mean, that preview was nice. I said, thank you for that. You calmed my heart down. So I think everything's going to be okay. But I'm definitely still here. I am seated. Can't wait to see where it goes. Continues to be a really fun and engaging story. I know I said I had my moment. Also, I was really tired. So I feel like that was some of it, because I came back and I said, Laura, what was the issue? And I was like, I don't know. So I'm here, loved it, had a great time, can't wait to see what happens next. Oh, but this one, I mean, yes, I'm excited to see what happens next, because it's the final volume, and the things we've been working towards, been seeing, it's gonna happen, but at the same time, it's the final volume, and that's volume 8 of My Girlfriend's Child. There was a statement in the interview that Sensei has with another person at the end, and that person said that this is a series that belongs in every person's home. I felt that so strongly when I was reading. I have never read a manga, a fictional book, that has gone so in depth about childbirth, about C-sections, about a vaginal delivery, like any of that, the complications that can happen, the things that you can do to prepare, like going to childbirthing class, like was fully blown away by all of these things. Honestly, I think about myself when I first had my child, and even though I was not a teenage mom, the concerns that Sachi had, the worries that she had resonated with me because I'm like, girl, I had the same thing, the same fears. I feel like something that really spoke to me, maybe it's just because I'm a mom, and so like I found a relatability in her journey specifically with that, is that she has been preparing to have this baby. Like she's known, but there is something that happens that clicks when you're not that far away from your due date and you start to realize like, this is really happening. This is real. Like, I'm gonna have a human being. Like, I'm gonna have a child. And it's funny because, well, it's like, well, what about all the other months when you've been carrying this child? And, you know, she has really agonized about her choice and has not been an easy journey for her at all. But it's like, there's just that moment. It's like a switch where you're just like, this is really happening. And so I loved seeing that part of Sachi's journey and seeing that realness that happened in my life in hers. Like, yes. And just the information that is given, truly incredible. And I feel like it's so less intimidating than if you picked up like a nonfiction book about childbirth and raising a child and everything of your decisions that you need to make leading up to giving actual childbirth. Really, really incredible. But the hardest part, honestly, was, well, there were two. Tanaka, we've talked about this before. He is one of the best male leads I've ever read in shoujo manga. He is incredible. He is the MVP. The way he is consistently putting himself out there. He's learning as much as he can. And seeing his heartbreak, seeing him say things at the beginning, it hurt my heart so much for him. Very, very emotional. That was really rough. I love Tanaka though. He's absolutely incredible. But also the end with Sachi's friend that she's made. I don't even know what to say about that, but it was really upsetting because you see the situation that her friend is in and you see Sachi's heart and you see how Sachi is wanting to be there for her and not really getting the encouragement to do so. And I get why everybody around her is saying that. But her brother, any redemption that he had in this series and previous volumes went down the drain. What a jerk, man. What a jerk. There is nothing that can excuse his decision that he makes on the behalf of Sachi. I was so furious at him. And so I don't know if we're going to see Sachi's friend in the next volume. I hope that we do. I'm scared to see her. But I truly hope that everything that Sachi has been doing, I hope it just all goes smoothly at the end. It was a very beautiful volume, seeing different things, but also very emotional, very heartfelt. And I have no doubts that it will be a very strong final volume and that I will probably cry as I did when I read this one. This one thankfully brought me some fluffiness and I needed it after Girlfriend's Child, and that is volume 3 of Papa Sits a Trap. This series is so wonderful. It is so wholesome. It's so precious. It's so wonderful. I love everything about it. The only thing I don't like is that the volumes release really slow. Like that's the only negativity about it. Man, it was wonderful. The romance continues to be slow burn, but so cute, so precious. We meet a new character that has a very interesting dog. He's a very interesting character as well, sort of causing up some, not gonna say drama, but some surprise. And I'm like, there ain't nothing to worry about. But some of these other characters they don't know that. But I loved how there's realizations of our leads that they're starting to realize maybe they like the other person more than just as a friend. And I was like, yes. And I'm like, don't deny the thoughts. Don't deny the thoughts. Keep going for it. Keep indulging these thoughts because yes, you know that you care for them. You know that you romantically hopefully love them. And yeah, let that ship sail. I'm all here for it. So continues to be 10 out of 10 series. Really, really fun. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's just a very sweet time. Gives you that serotonin boost. And it's one I would highly recommend, especially if you love dogs. And again, just want to see a slow burn romance with adults and just their dogs doing really cute, fun things. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it so much. And let me just pause this video. I did not do these in order by publisher. So I'm not really quite sure how I'm going to do the timestamps. I know that's a little bit late. Yeah, it's really late based off the time that it is now. And so I do apologize, friends. friends. I will try and make it work somehow. Maybe, I don't know, we're gonna try and make it work somehow. Okay, I guess because my stack was smaller, I didn't think to put it in the order that publisher. But yeah, going on to the next one, I read Girl Crush Volume 2. I didn't think that this volume, or this series, excuse me, could get any better than it already has. It was fantastic. I love this volume more than I did volume 1. I read this as I was running errands with my stepdad, and I was waiting in the car, waiting for him to finish his doctor's appointment and whatnot. Y'all, I should not be surprised that a sports manga has made me cry, because I definitely did with Haikyuu. I've cried in the anime, cried when watching the anime, and cried when reading the manga, but I didn't expect to cry reading this volume. There is a scene with Tenka that was beautiful and heartfelt, and I just felt the core of my being, and I was like, And it wasn't like just that moment, but I think everything leading up to it as well. There was another point where I got super emotional when reading, and I was just so surprised and caught off guard by that. But man, I am in deep in this series. I don't know what chapter it was, but I am actually like reading past what I read digitally, and it has been so good. Deeply, deeply loved it. If I can, I will try and leave a link down below to a buddy review, a written buddy review that I did with a friend of mine. We broke down, talked about our takeaway from this volume, because it was powerful and it was wonderful. And if you're not reading, I would highly recommend it, especially if you want a non-romantic series, want some awesome action with dancing, and want some incredible heroine main character development. Like, it has been beautiful, and I am invested to see where Tenka goes and how she is just transformed into this beautiful young woman who is not cocky because she's so good at what she does, but that genuinely she has adopted this dream for herself in a way where she is personally excited and just living, I feel like, what is the beginning of living her best life. I'm really, really, really excited for her. Cannot wait for volume 3. I definitely pre-ordered it just the other day, and I know I'm gonna super love it. I can't wait to see what happens. And then last but not least, I read volume 2 of Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts, Air, White Rabbit, and the Prince of Beasts. I should also not be surprised that this creator has a beautiful way of writing that is emotional and impactful, and I definitely found myself tearing up more than once because, man, seeing different dilemmas that I feel like, yes, Sarafi had struggled with in the main series, but seeing him through a child's eyes, Prince Richard, it was emotional, it was hard, it was impactful, and seeing how he has to make these decisions while hiding his real identity, but seeing there's such bigger thing at play. Like, we especially see that in the opening chapter. My heart truly went out to him, and seeing two certain characters. I will just say, if you're a fan of some side characters in the original series, y'all, you're gonna be screaming and being super duper excited for the thing that happens in this one. Like, that was awesome. I am worried about what's gonna happen next. I love the development of Prince Richard. I love seeing him take a bold stand for people that he cares about, like not just, I forget her name, but her and the White Rabbit, like not just them, but for people who cannot defend themselves, that he is stepping up despite being a child, that he's standing up to these adults and making a bold stand, bold claim. Though when he befriends a certain character near the end, and right at the end, we the reader find out a twist, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it has me worried for him because I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna be good news, despite that this character seemed really, really great. I really liked them too, and I'm just like, oh, like I feel scared. I feel scared. So hopefully everything's gonna be okay. Hopefully. It was definitely a very wonderful and impactful volume. Really, really loved it. A fantastic way to wrap up or to end the month of reading. Yeah, hopefully I read one of your favorite series or just a series you enjoyed. Hopefully I shared some thoughts that resonated and vibed with you. And yeah, let me know what you read last month. What were some of your favorite things? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!